I would like to welcome you to EDU 5640, Issues in Education During Middle Childhood and Adolescent Development. My name is Lindsay Bloom, and it is my privilege to work with you over these next 8 weeks. This course is a prerequisite for the Multiple Subject Credential Program. If you are pursuing a single subject credential, then you are in the wrong course. You want to make sure that you go ahead and switch your course to EDU 6509, as the content in that course specifically addresses adolescent development and adolescent curriculum. Over these next 8 weeks, we will explore mid-childhood development as it applies to and impacts educational and classroom needs. Developmental disabilities, learning disabilities, behavior management, and other topics are addressed as they pertain to K-8 classrooms and other educational settings. In addition, we will discuss developmental theories and how they apply to specific topics and needs that children, adolescents, and educators face. We will also review 3 chapters in the Hope University adopted Health for Educators textbook in order to meet the state credentialing requirement. Our course officially begins on Monday, March 21st and will conclude on Sunday, May 15th. We will have 8 sessions, and each session will run Monday through Sunday. During this podcast, I will spend some time reviewing our e-course on eCollege. I'll briefly review our syllabus, go over our weekly assignments as well as the ongoing assignments, and I also want to make sure I provide you with my contact information, which is lebloom@hiu.edu. If you are new to online learning, Hope University utilizes eCollege as our learning platform. There are a few things that I want to highlight on our e-course so that you can familiarize yourself with our site as well as the different requirements for this course. This will be the home page once you log into our course. I do ask that you take time to review this tutorial presented here at the center of our home page, as well as these key course points. One item that I do want to draw your attention to in our tutorial is the frequently asked question discussion board. I do ask that you utilize this method of communication to post questions regarding assignments, readings, or other items directly related to our course content. Often in online classes, many students will have the same question, so only one response is required. So I do ask that you post all of those types of questions in our frequently asked question discussion board, which you will see the access to under Course Home. And I do typically need about 24 hours to respond to all those questions, but most of the time it's sooner than that. However, if you do have any personal questions, personal concerns, I do ask that you email me directly at my HIU email account, which is located here. So before we get started on our eCollege tutorial, I also want to let you know how important it is for you to be checking your HIU email account. That is the email account that is directly linked to our course. So anytime I need to send you a message or I send a course-related message to the entire class, I will be utilizing the email accounts that are directly linked to our course. So it's critical that you check your HIU email account on a regular basis. So the first thing that I want to draw your attention to is up here. Some of these may look different on your homepage because I am the instructor, so I have access to different items than you, but relatively it should look the same. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is the gradebook. It is my goal to always have your grades posted by the next session. So for your weekly assignments, they should be posted by Wednesday of the following session, and all primary assignments are typically graded and returned to you by Friday of the following session. As I mentioned, anytime I need to utilize or I need to contact you via email, I will be utilizing the email function in our course, and you may do the same. So if you need to email myself or other students in our course, you will access it directly here. We have a doc sharing area on our course. I provide grading rubrics for our primary assignments, and you will find them here, as well as a copy of our syllabus for you to download and print or save to your hard drive, a copy of our course schedule. You are required to complete observation hours as part of one of the assignments, so there is a request letter that you can present to administration at the school site that you wish to observe. And then again, as I mentioned, there are grading rubrics, your PowerPoint rubric, a developmental theory paper rubric, as well as an observation rubric found here. I highly suggest that you review those grading rubrics prior to submission so that you are sure you've included all required components. Because this is technically a graduate level course, I know some of you are still in undergrad, but it is a graduate level course. All three of your two primary papers are expected to be written in APA format. So there is a sample APA formatted paper here. And then also you will find the observation form that needs to be completed by the teacher that you observe. So over here on the left-hand side, you will see several items listed under Course Home. And again, some of these may not be available to you because you have the student view. You do have direct access to our syllabus if you just want to take a quick look. It's loaded here as a PDF file, but again, if you want to download a copy or print out a hard copy for yourself, you'll access that via doc sharing. There is an area, Meet Your Professor, where it just provides a brief description of myself and my background. Next, you will find our course schedule, which outlines our course by session, topics that we will talk about in that session, the assigned readings for that session, and then as well as an activity or assignment, anything that's due that week. As I mentioned, I do ask that you utilize the frequently asked question discussion board when you do have questions that pertain to assignments or course content, and you'll utilize it just as any other discussion board. So you'll post it directly here, and then I will respond within 24 hours. Within our course, we do have 3 weekly assignments. Every week you will be expected to complete a threaded discussion post and respond to at least 2 peers. You will complete a faith and education response, and then you will also complete either a reader response journal entry or a health quiz. Beyond our weekly assignments, you will also have 3 primary assignments. Your first one is due at the end of session 4, which is a research on disability PowerPoint presentation. Your next assignment is due at the end of session 7, and that is a research assignment, a cognitive developmental theory research paper. And then finally, your observation report is due by the end of session 8. For all 3 of those primary assignments, I do provide grading rubrics for you, and those again are found in the doc sharing area of our course. I also provide for you a brief overview of APA format, what that looks like, what you should be including within your APA formatted papers. If you do not have a current APA manual, I've also provided you with a link here to a very helpful website, the OWL at Purdue, and they provide a very easy to use APA formatting guide. The library here at Hope also has special guides for you that you can utilize. You can access directly from this link. In the final 2 sections under Course Home, there's a direct link to the Hope Library, and then also if you have a specific question you want to ask a librarian, you can access directly here. Now I'm going to just show you how our sessions are typically set up each week. So looking at session 1, this same information is what is found on our course schedule. So again, it will have any announcement that I have for you. It'll have the topics that we will address, assigned readings, as well as any assignments that are due. Now, because it's session 1, you do have an additional discussion board. I do ask that you just post a brief introduction of yourself in the student intro discussion board. Then you will have your weekly threaded discussion, which you'll click on, and the prompt is listed here, and then in order for you to respond, you'll click respond, and then you'll be able to also respond to your peers' posts. Each week we will have a faith and education assignment. This is going to be a written response. Your written responses for faith and education, reader response, as well as your 2 primary written papers will be submitted in the Dropbox. So I'll click on this, but it does look quite a bit different for the student. So it doesn't look like this on your view, but this is where you will submit all your faith and education assignments, reader response assignments, as well as your 2 primary papers. And then just to demonstrate, your reader response will always have a prompt. If it is a reader response, it's typically directly related to your Evertson text, which deals with classroom management. And again, you'll respond to your prompt and then submit to the Dropbox. Each week, you will have either a reader response or a health quiz. Your first health quiz will be during session 4, and I just want to demonstrate that before I move on to our syllabus. You will take the quiz directly from the course. So you want to make sure that you read your chapter ahead of time, and then you will just click Begin Health Quiz. And before you begin, it will give you some reminders that you're only allowed to take the exam 1 time and that there is a time component. So don't start it and then return to it 2 hours later. I believe there's only a 1-hour time limit for you to complete the quiz. However, if something happens, please don't hesitate to email me and I'll try to fix it on my end so that you can either resubmit or restart your quiz. So you will do that 3 times over the course of this term. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pause our podcast. I'm going to go over our syllabus next, so I recommend that you have a hard copy of the syllabus in front of you or a digital copy so that you can make notes on it as we go through. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and briefly go over our syllabus. However, it is your responsibility to read through the details of the syllabus. This is the contract between you, the student, and the university, so you want to make sure that you are aware of all the policies and procedures that go along with this course and with other courses within the School of Education. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, and you will see our course description on page 2, and again our class meeting time and place. It is an online course and it will run March 21st through May 15th, and each session will run from Monday 12 a.m. through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. The next section that I want to highlight are our required textbooks. There are 3 for this course. You will be utilizing the health text in multiple classes, so you want to make sure that you have access to this textbook for all the classes that you'll need it for. For the purpose of this class, again, it's critical that you check your HIU email account regularly. You obviously need access to eCollege, and you also need to have access to a PowerPoint application or something similar. Okay, the next area goes through different student services that are available to you, so take time to read through all the several services that are available to you. And then policies and services. It's very important that you maintain academic integrity within our course. Everything that you submit needs to be original to you. You need to be submitting original assignments to 5640. You may not use assignments that you've submitted to other courses as part of the requirements for this. Everything needs to be unique to EDU 5640. I do ask that all assignments, or excuse me, I do require that all assignments are submitted on time. However, I do understand that there are special circumstances or crises that happen in our lives. However, it is your responsibility as the student to notify me and request an extension if needed, and only if it is for dire reasons. Otherwise, your work does need to be submitted on time. This course moves extremely quickly. We cover a lot of content over these 8 weeks, so it's really important that you stay on track and that you stay on time with the different topics that we're going to address. Incompletes are very rare in the School of Education. However, again, if you do need to request an incomplete, it's your responsibility to initiate that process, and I encourage you to review the HIU Student Handbook so that you're aware of the policies related to incompletes and withdrawals. Because this is a graduate level course, as I mentioned earlier, your primary papers are expected to be submitted in APA format. There are several resources available to you on eCollege that support APA format. As I mentioned, there is a sample APA formatted paper and doc sharing, and then you have links to both our school library guides as well as the OWL at Purdue. Okay. The next area I'm going to go over are our assignments. So as mentioned, you will have 3 weekly assignments. Each week you are expected to post on our threaded discussion board and then respond to at least 2 peers. Your initial post is due by Thursday of each session, and you are required to respond to at least 2 peers by Sunday of each session. Due to the participatory nature of these assignments, I do not accept any postings past the close of the session. Now, I do want to highlight that when you are responding to your peers, you want to make sure that your responses are thought-provoking and include personal insight, not simply agreeing with your peers' assessment. That's what the expectations are if you want to receive full credit for this assignment. So again, your responses to peers need to be thought-provoking. Although some of our questions may be reflective in nature, I do recommend that you utilize a blended format in your initial response, which means that you incorporate both personal insight as well as textual evidence within your response. So whenever you utilize textual evidence, you need to give credit to that source. So I would expect to see an APA formatted citation and a reference at the end of your posting. Our theme for our faith and education assignments is looking at how we are all created in God's image over these next 8 weeks. So you are going to be given a prompt each week. You will submit your response by Wednesday of each session, and each submission is expected to be about 2 to 3 paragraphs in length and include insight and application statements. And then your final weekly assignment will be either a reader response journal entry or a health quiz. So you will submit reader response assignments, sessions 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, and you will complete health quizzes. You will complete health quizzes sessions 4, 7, and 8. And for each of these assignments, they are due by the end of each session. So they're due by Sunday of each of those sessions. Now for your reader response assignments, because it is a response to what you're reading, I do expect to see textual evidence to support your application. So make sure that you're citing your text so that I am aware of where you are getting those ideas and where you're getting that information. And your reader response assignments will be directly linked to your classroom management text by Emmer and Evertson. And then, as I demonstrated earlier, you will complete 3 health quizzes, and those are done directly on our course. So you will complete the quiz, and again, you're only given about an hour time frame, so make sure that you're ready to take it when you sit down to begin the quiz. Okay, so we have 3 primary assignments or ongoing assignments spread out throughout our course, and these are in addition to your weekly assignments. So your first one will be due Sunday of session 4, and it is a research assignment, and it's going to be a research on a disability. I've listed the disabilities that are available to you here. However, if there is a disability that you do not see on this list that you would also like to do, then I ask that you email me directly in order to receive permission to address that disability. Now, each student needs to choose a different disability. So if we go back to our course, you will see under session 2, there is going to be a PowerPoint presentation topic selection. You need to access this discussion board, and you need to write your topic of research here in this discussion board. If someone else has already chosen your topic of choice, then you need to choose something different. And again, if there is something that you would like to research that you do not see on this list, please contact me and I will give you permission or tell you that you need to look for something else. Now you will notice that there is, autism is not an option on here, and that's because I provide you with a pretty detailed lecture on the topic of autism. However, if you're interested in autism, Asperger's syndrome falls under the same umbrella of pervasive developmental disorders as autism, as well as Fragile X syndrome. So if autism is something that interests you and you want to further research, those would be two good options for you. Okay, so once you have selected your topic of study in session 2, you will create your PowerPoint presentation, which is due at the end of session 4. I've listed several requirements for this assignment. You are required, of course, to begin with a title slide, include characteristics and defining factors, as well as the history of the disability. When was that disability first recognized? What services have been provided for individuals with that disability over the years? You need to talk about prevalence. Is it more prevalent in males versus females? Next, you will include information regarding the description of at least 2 research-based instructional strategies. You will also include 2 helpful websites for teachers. You need to make sure that you provide us with a description of those websites, and also at least 2 helpful websites for parents. You will end your presentation with an APA formatted reference slide with at least 3 resources. Now the second part of this assignment is that you do need to include audio in this. Now because, again, this is an online class, you will not have an opportunity to present in front of the class. So therefore, with your PowerPoint presentation, you will include voiceover. So think of it as if you were doing an in-class presentation in one of your other courses. So you do need to include audio or voiceover within your presentation. If you have difficulty uploading your presentation directly into our course, you may also download it to YouTube and provide us with the correct link. So either way is okay. So you may either provide us with a link to your YouTube presentation, or you may just post or directly paste the presentation directly into the discussion board. Your second primary assignment is due at the end of session 7, and we are going to spend some time over these next 8 weeks reviewing Piaget's and Vygotsky's cognitive developmental theories. You will choose one of those researchers and basically review what their theory was and talk about how the impact of their theory how their theory has impacted our current educational system. And you do need to make sure that you incorporate textual evidence. The second part is looking at the applications. So you're going to spend some time talking about how you will apply this theory into your educational philosophy as it specifically relates to 3 areas: environmental setup, instruction, and social development. There are listed here paper requirements. I do expect it to be at least 7 pages in length, and that does not include your title page, your abstract page, or your reference page. So I'm looking for about 7 pages of content. It does need to be submitted in APA format, and you do need to utilize at least 4 research-based resources. So that does not include Wikipedia or Google. It does include scholarly journals, reports, and textbooks. Please take time to review the grading rubric that's provided for that assignment prior to submission. And then your final assignment is your observation hours verification and report. So for the purpose of this class, because we're studying human development, we want to take a look at the differences between typical and atypical development. So you will be spending some time observing in a special education classroom for this class. You are required to observe for at least 5 hours in an elementary special education classroom. That classroom may be either identified as a moderate severe classroom or as a mild moderate classroom. There is a form letter found in DocSharing that you may utilize to present to an administrator in order to explain to them about this assignment. So after you complete your observation, you will write a brief paper just explaining what happened during your observation. There are several criteria listed here that you want to make sure that you include in that section. Then you will also want to make sure that you follow this paper format, which means that you include a title page, an introduction, the body of your paper, and a reflection on this experience. How does this impact your pedagogy as a future teacher? And then finally concluding with a reference page. Now, if you look up here, it also states that in the personal reflection, you do need to discuss at least 2 connections between your observation, experience, and course content. So you want to make at least 2 connections with something that you have learned either via some of our presentations or assigned readings over the course of the 8 weeks. There is also an HIU observation verification form that you need to have signed and submit with your written paper. And that verification form is also found in DocSharing. And finally, our syllabus concludes with our course evaluation and another copy of our course schedule. So again, our course schedule will outline each session by topic, assigned readings, and assignments that are due. This concludes this introductory podcast. I do hope that if you have any questions that you don't hesitate to contact me via email, or you may post your questions in the frequently asked question discussion board. I really look forward to working with you over these next 8 weeks and learning from you, as well as teaching you some fundamental strategies for working with students in this age group. Have a great first week of class.